see if we get any type of current readings at all. This is my meter. It's one of them cheap ones, but it seems to work okay. If you notice, I scarred up the inside of it pretty bad messing around with it, but that don't seem to matter. It still works good. And all right, set on 400 amp setting. Right now you see it rising because I got to zero it out. So I'll zero it out to 0. Now walk over here, raises just a little bit, you know it drifts. Walk back over here, drill this sucker out. 0. Now I gotta fix this thing. I got a lot of work to do on this, but that was the best I can do. Look, the intake tube is still really cold. So let's make it a little richer. Got it rigged up here. Anybody who wants to build one of these reactors, one of these geets, you guys don't need to pay attention to free plans at all. Basic reference, that's about it. On a small engine, them tubes are just way too large. It passes way too much air. There's a ratio, I wish I could figure it out. I'm trying to find help on that. You just got to think how much fuel does the engine need in the first place. And when you're running the reformer, it needs less. And you need a high air to fuel ratio going in that reactor. It needs to be really rich. So if you're passing so much air through the reactor, you can't maintain the vacuum, and you provide too much fuel to the engine if you try to burn it rich, and you burn more fuel than needed. And if you burn it lean, the fuel starts burning inside the reactor. That's what happens when you get too much air per volume of fuel, whatever. I'm thinking on this 5.7 horsepower, I can get it down to about a 1/4 inch rod, maybe a 1/4 inch rod with a 3/8 inner tube. I'll use that same 3/4 NPT nipple on the out. And I think I'm getting a little bit too much restriction on the reactor with this setup. It might be because this thing moves quite a bit of air. But a little restriction is supposed to be okay. But if the reactor ain't working right, for some reason it don't want to work. Here's some of the other rods I've run. Here's the one in tubes. It's a 1/2 inch inner tube with 0.430 inside diameter. You see how crudded up that is on the inside of there? If you guys can see that, that's from that fuel burning I'm telling you about. When I was burning it lean, trying to get better economy. I found out if I burned the reactor a little bit richer and then cut back on the air going through the reactor and increase vacuum or whatever, the gap, clearances, whatever you have to do, and it doesn't do that no more. And I'm going to shut this thing down here in a minute, and I'm going to show you this rod. Yeah, I can see. Alright, just shut this thing down, and we're going to take the rod out of it. I don't know if you can see the condensation on the inner tube or not. This thing's pretty cold. It's probably under, about 50, I guess. Voila! Look at that. Took the rod out, holding it by hand. It ain't burning me. This end right here is really cold. And I'll show you again on the magnetics if I can. I don't know if you guys can see it. See, up towards the top it's hot though. I can't touch that side, it gets too hot. And if you notice, I don't know if you guys can see it, the south end of the compass tracks to the bottom of the rod, and then I flip it over, and the north is on that, but you can keep it on top side, whatever. I still haven't quite figured out the magnetic fields on these. I don't know if you guys can see the little lines that are forming and how the fuel is burning back here, or something's happening not supposed to be happening. And it's kind of clean. It's kind of clean here. I got like 3 lines right next to each other. Right here, another line, another, and then towards the end it starts to do that. I had a shorter rod in there and it wasn't doing that. Hope I'm holding the thing still. That thing's cold on that side. That side I can't touch it. It's too hot. And that's my setup. And this is a 3/8 rod. Still way too big for the engine. The darker spot is at the top. I got the polarity reversed. It seems to help out quite a bit. And rich mixtures. Keep it rich. Keep your reactor small.